Today I want to talk about my favorite topic. And just to start, growing up or even until very recent, I think until like 2019, I was not aware about what is Shiva or who's Shiva. And my understanding was from whatever religion has taught us about the rituals, right? Shivling, puja, pani chadhao, Chadhao, and generally whatever movies had shown. So that's what all my understanding was, and I never had a personal connection with Shiva. I was always inclined towards Ram, and Ram was my deity as a child when I was growing up. So in 2019, I had an experience. Um, and what happened was I watched a documentary called DMT, The Spirit Molecule. It was on Netflix. I was just browsing and I watched that documentary. And that documentary was really profound. Like it was showing, in Amazonian shamanic cultures, there is this drink called ayahuasca, where, like the natives of Amazon people, they um, take those drinks and they go into transcendental states, and from there, their shamans or their gurus would go and teach and guide the village on what are the next steps and other things. And it not only spoke about like the mystical aspect, it also spoke about the science behind it. So it was presented that DMT, the spirit molecule, was presented from a very scientific level, like what happens, what chemicals get triggered in your brain and all of that. So that documentary really intrigued me, and I was like, "Wow, I would like to have an experience like that." And it was November of 2019. I took my journal and wrote it down. Next year, 2020, I researched and found that there's a Costa Rica, there's an institute called Rhythmia Institute, and they host these sessions, and it's pretty expensive. It's like a $4,000, $5,000 package that you go in, but they do it very in a very authentic way. Now, I did not know anybody in Amazon jungles that I could go in the jungles and do it. So I was like, okay, this is my goal in 2020. I will go to Rhythmia Institute, Costa Rica, and have this experience. It's a 7-day retreat and other things. Now, the day I wrote down, and it's very this thing that day or two later, one of my ex-colleagues called me and she said, it's weird, but I have to tell you something, and I don't know why I'm telling you, and please don't judge me for it. I don't know how will you perceive me and all of that. And she was very nervous when she was about to share with this with me. She said, "You came in my meditation journey. You came in my journey." She didn't tell me meditation. She said, "You came in my journey, and I was given this message to give to you." I was like, "What is it?" She said, well, I did an ayahuasca retreat recently and I was told to share my experience with you. And I was like, what? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not judging you at all. You have to tell me all about it. And she told me basically here in the Bay Area, there is this person, there's this group who does these and they do it in a Brazilian way and it's very authentic and everything and blah, blah, blah. And she told me all about it. And I was like, no kidding. There's a reason why you told me. I've written this down 2 days back in my journal, and I have to. She said, "Oh, there's one coming up this coming weekend, and that's why I wanted to tell you so that I don't know why, but if you want to go." I was like, "Yeah, sign me up. I am going." Like it's happening here in the Bay Area. Like that's insane. I never even knew I was planning to go to Costa Rica next year. So I signed up for it. The person, um, the guy, his name is Steve. Okay, I'll just put it out there. I was like hesitant of if I should share his name or not. So she put me in touch with Steve, and I called Steve, and he interviewed me for an hour. He said, "Why do you want to do this?" And he said, "What are your intentions behind this?" He wanted to make sure that I'm not doing it as a party drug or something, and just have wanting to like he really focuses on keeping the circle authentic and only like spiritual seekers who have some deeper um intentions would come to that circle. So I said, I told him everything. I said, "Steve, I feel like there is something powerful I'm connected to. I feel like all my wishes are just granted. I feel like I'm talking to someone. Shika, hold on, I'll get to the question. Um, I'm talking to someone in my mind, and who's that someone? I don't know. But I feel like I'm called for this experience. I watched this documentary 2 days back. I wrote it down in a journal. There's no way it's a coincidence that I'm talking to you, and I want to come to this session. I'm not into alcohol. I don't enjoy drinking alcohol. I do it only socially to have fun with friends. But I'm like, if you're thinking that I'm doing it for a party reason or anything, that's not the case. I'm here with all my honest intentions. And he said, okay, that's fine. You'll have to fast for one whole week, like no tea, no coffee, da da da. And he gave me like Wim Hof breathing exercises. He told me that you have to prepare your body, alkalize your body, and all of that. And he invited me to that session. That session was supposed to happen on a beach. It was a beach retreat. And he said, this will be on a beach, prepare for the windy day or this and that, bring extra layer of clothes, all of this. And I was all prepared. And in one night before, I wrote down in my journal and I wrote down this. I've actually blogged about it. I'll share that blog with you. It's in my personal space right now. I wrote down in my journal, who am I talking to? I want to meet you. Will you meet me? I want to meet you. Am I good enough that you will meet me? Like, I don't even know who you are, but I know I'm talking to you. There's somebody I'm communicating to. Who is it? And that's all I wrote down. Will you meet me? And I remember I wrote down, am I good enough that you will meet me? And that's all I wrote in my journal. And I went there. The whole night it rained profoundly. It was raining cats and dogs. And I was like shit scared in my heart. Now this has happened on the beach and it's raining. Oh my God, the session will get canceled. So next morning we wake up and we get a message from Steve that it has been raining cats and dogs. We're canceling our retreat on the beach. It will happen at my home. And this is my home address and everybody come here. I said, okay, fine. I go there in that space. The moment I enter, there's a beautiful patio space. There was a huge Shiva. No, Shiva was on one side, big tapestry of Shiva, like a big, huge poster, life-size poster of Shiva. And then in front of me, the moment I entered from the door, there was like a goddess Lakshmi, big poster of Lakshmi, life size, like the whole wall was. And when I entered, that whole big poster of Lakshmi was so profound. Like I was like, which place is this? Like whose house is this? And then we entered, and there was a circle, and everybody I talked to, where are you? Like they were like somebody's CEO of some company, somebody's something, and I was like, these are all techies. I was thinking like these will be all spiritual seekers, like you know, but they're all like somebody was. I remember one lady, Cecilia. She was from Google. And I was like, oh, what do you do at Google? And she was like, I'm this, I'm product manager, blah, 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 blah. And I work on VR headset designs. And I was like, cool, these are really cool people. So, and I sat down and we started with a journey. We took our plant medicine. They call it plant medicine because it's, sacred plants and the juice of that plant. So anyways, we sat down, we did some breath work. There were a lot of exercises that Steve did with us. And I took the medicine. And when I took the medicine, I was like, somebody in the group shared their past experiences and the intention. So they said, oh, last time I came, I slept through the whole entire experience. I have no memory, but it was very deep, deep, peaceful sleep. And that somehow got triggered in my head. I said, I don't want to sleep through this experience. I want to stay awake. I want to see what happens. And I was very awake and conscious in that experience. And I just sat down, like, fine, erect. Everybody lie down with their blankets on their face. I was like, nope, I am sitting, I'm meditating. And soon, when I took the first dose, um, from the base of my spine, there was this heat or energy, like warm, tingling energy that started moving up my spine. I could feel it in my back, and it went in my head. And as soon as it went in my head was like really heavy, and it became so heavy that my head was like falling back. And like I wanted to lie down, but I was like, no, I will not lie down because I will sleep. No, 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 Sarika, stay awake. And again, it was like becoming heavy. My head was like heavy as a rock. And and Steve came to me, and he was like a sitter. He was helping everyone, or and he came to me. He said, "What's going on with you?" And I said, "Steve," and I was already starting to like become a little dizzy with I was like, "Steve, I don't want to sleep. Will I sleep?" He said, "I don't know. This is you, and who you want to talk to. This is between you and him. I don't know." So I was like, "Okay." He said, "You want to sleep?" I said, "Okay, I'll lie down." And the moment I lie down, my mind started racing all directions. What are you doing? This is drugs. You're taking drugs. You're a bad girl. Blah blah blah. All my baggage or my narrative. Blah 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 blah. What will my husband think? What if I die here? What if this? What if that? All the fears just started exploding in my head. And boom, 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 boom. There was like so many voices. Blah, 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 blah. All my internal voices. They were just heightened. And slowly, um, I just lost like I was not able to physically move. Like my body was like just all frozen, and I was not able to physically move. And I got started getting scared. Like I'm not able to move. I'm thirsty. I want to drink water right now, but I can't move. Can I tell someone? In my head, I'm thinking all of these things. And slowly, there was this presence that came in my side. There's something here, and I don't know who it was. I was not able to see. It's like somebody standing right here, and it asked me to calm down. And the moment I experienced that presence, I just immediately calmed down. And it said me to lift higher. And I was like, so, and I started getting visions and visuals at that time. It was like a beautiful black, pink, golden, shimmery mandala. Like a huge wall in above me was like a mandala artwork or something, and it was just moving and swirling. And and that voice said, lift up. And I said, how do I lift up? Help me. And the moment I said that, boom, my consciousness went. It just went through that tapestry, and it went somewhere. It was like the layers of my mind, like onion is opening up. I started opening up like that. I was thinking, but my work went away. But my husband went away. The kids gone. Every thought that was coming just kept going, 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 going. Every thirst gone. Boom, gone, gone, gone. Everything was gone until I was left in complete silence. It was silent. I was like, thought? There's no thought. I'm like, where am I? Where is this place that I am in? Pin drop silence. And it was dark. It was void. It was nothingness. There was nothing in there. It was, I was trying, and that voice was with me here, right here. It was saying, observe this, look around, observe this. And it was silent, like deep peace silence. Like you connect with it and it's just stillness. It Nothing was moving in that space. And there's nothing else in there. And it was very profound. I was like, is this darkness? No, I was able to see everything in that space. But there was no light. But I was able to see. And I was like, what is this? I don't know what was that. It was like nothing. There cannot be anything. And it was beautiful. And then slowly I came out of that scene and I opened my eyes. And the moment I opened my eyes in my physical realm, everything was so beautiful. Like the room was so beautiful. There was a fireplace. I was lying down near a fireplace. I was watching the fire. It was beautiful. Everything was like very heightened awareness. And I could see the energy in moving in the fire, in that place. And then slowly Cecilia, my friend who was at Google, she came and she sat down next to fire. And she was looking at the fire, and I did not know her before that. So she was a stranger for me. And she was looking at the fire, and she was also a guide. So she was not under the influence of the medicine. But she was looking at the fire, and she looked at me. And the moment she looked at me, I looked into her eyes and something hit me, and there was some interaction that happened. There was a past life memory that triggered, and I saw Cecilia in a beautiful outfit, like a, and the fireplace became like an ancient fireplace, and she was in a medieval time outfit, and she was crying. And in reality, also, she started crying. Something happened inside her. She felt like crying, and something happened inside me in that experience. I was connected to her in that experience. She was crying. And am I sharing my screen? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's fine. Let's see that screen on. And the moment I asked, like, why is she crying? It came like her emotions became my emotions. I started feeling those emotions. I have done something to her in the past, and I have to ask for her forgiveness. And there was something, that interaction that happened between us, and I was crying and howling at that time. I was not able to use my words, and I was like, Cecilia, I'm sorry for what I did to you in the past. Just forgive me. Just forgive me. And she was looking at me. And in that experience, Steve doesn't allow anybody to talk to anybody. I was not able to speak my words, but I was crying, like lying down in a paralyzed state, but crying on top of my lungs. And it was like I want to go hug her. And I want to ask for her forgiveness from the past, something that the memory showed me in from a past life. And she was feeling that at the same time, something for me. And so Steve came and he helped me get up, and he said it's fine, you can hug her. And I had the moment I hugged her, it was like I, she was like, I forgive you. And the moment she said that, it was like I was released from that, and something happened. But I was so loud in that experience of crying and howling that everybody else was getting disturbed. So Steve said, you cannot be lying here. So he said, you, Sarika, you need to go into another room. So he took me to his bedroom, and he laid me in the bedroom. And now when he put me on the bed, I was still in that trance state. And there were like three other guides who were guiding. And along with Steve, they came and they started giving me healing. And I was lying down, and they were sitting on the bed, and they were on the chairs next to me, and they were just sitting and giving me healing. And while I was lying down, I was looking at the sky, and suddenly in my vision, like I saw so where I was lying down, there was a huge patio window through which I was able to see that Shiva's big poster that was there on the entry. And I did not pay attention to Shiva's poster. I was just looking at the sky here and there. And suddenly somebody started talking to me again. Are you ready to meet me? Are you ready to meet him? I was like, who? The one you talked to. I was like, yeah, I am ready. Are you ready to give up away all your life that you have till now? And I thought, in that experience, I thought that I'm dead. Like I was in a trance state, and I thought that I have died, and this is the question that they're asking me at death or something. That are you ready to give your human life, everything else? And I said, yeah, I'm ready to give everything that I have. And it said, you are you ready to live, give away, like it was like, are you ready to detach from everything that you have? And I said yes. And the moment I said yes, I was outside my home in my vision. My husband was there. I was standing in the car, like doing something with the car. My kids were playing around outside in the front yard, and I saw them from a higher vision, like they are all there. And it asked me again, are you ready to leave all of this behind? I said, I am ready to leave all of this behind. I want to meet who who is it I'm talking to. And the moment I said boom, 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 I went out of that scene. And I believed in my mind that I have died, that I've left my family, I've died. And I was like, it's fine. They will be fine. And I don't know how did I got the courage. Even now, when I think of it on a conscious state, I was like, I'll never be able to leave them behind or something. But at that time, I left everybody behind. I was like, I want to meet you. And then I was back in that room with that big poster of Shiva. And suddenly that Shiva's poster caught my attention. And I again went into that trance. And on that poster, he had a third eye. And suddenly everything blurred out except for his third eye. And it was like my consciousness was sucked into his third eye. And and I experienced like love, like found love. What is the love of God? Love of God, like we are so loved. We are loved like anything. We don't even know how much we are loved. And I experienced oneness again. Like I shared it, oneness. My first experience of oneness was during the sun gazing. And this time, the oneness I've experienced is that all eyes, that your eye, my eye, everybody's eye is just one. That's one eye of Shiva. That's all it is. And in that, I started asking questions. And my questions were being answered. Every question that I asked, it was like boom, answer came in the realms of my mind. And everything, I was like, but this, but that, but this, okay, this, but this. And I was getting all the answers and answers and answers. And in that experience, it came to me, this is moksha. This is moksha. And moksha was like profound message while I was there. And it told me we'll meet again. And it told me you are seeing, you are experiencing this in this version, and everybody will have their own view. Some may see it through Krishna, some may see it through Christ, some may see it through their guru, some may see it through sun, some may see it through Devi. Everybody's experience will be different, and everybody's experience will be own unique to what is there. But I have chosen to meet you, and that's how we met. And it told me then. For me, it felt like eternity. I didn't want it to go from there. I said, I don't want to go back. I just want to stay here in this experience with you. And I won't go anywhere. It said, no, you'll go back. And you'll go back in your timeline. It'll be a new timeline. You're not going back into your old timeline. And I said, what does it mean? So it showed me the path of my life completely. Like you were born, you went this, did this, you did this, how you met here, how you worked here, how your colleague you met here for the first time, how that colleague told you this experience, how you met Steve, how this is like a path lighted up. You think you are doing this? It's me doing this. I'm taking you on this path. And now I'm taking you on a new path. And we'll meet again. And you'll go back now. And I said, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I just want to stay here in this experience. I thought I've died. I don't want to go back to human journey. I said, no, you'll go back. And you're blessed. And I was like, okay. And slowly I came back to my normal self. And suddenly that was like a picture again. I was like, and I was trying to connect with that picture again. Like how I was connected, I was talking to you, but this is now a photo again. And I think, where did Shiva go? Like, this is just a picture of Shiva. But I was talking to you. And the moment I turned around, all the three, four guides or healers, they were sitting next to me and they were just sitting and giving me healing at that time. And they were all like, I woke up and I started laughing. Like, oh my God, this is what it is. This is what the human experience is. And this is what I come here. And it was like, yeah, the reality of it all. You've experienced it now. I was like, what? And we all started laughing. Like everybody was outside the room having their experiences in this closed room. The four of us were laughing and crying and we all hugged each other. And in that experience that I had with Cecilia, I learned about Steve. And I saw Steve as my dad and Cecilia as my sister from some other lifetime. And I came and I woke up and I said, Steve, you are my daddy. He said, I have a lot of children, come here. He gave me a big hug. And he's my spiritual dad now. So every time I have a question I don't know answer for, if something happens, I go ask him. The day I come back from that experience, the next day I was driving to work and I was not able to like think about anything else. I was like I was going to work and I said, "Hey Siri, Google who's Shiva." And the first video comes up. Siri says, "Here is a video of like Sadhguru." And I played, and I'm driving to my work, and Sadhguru is talking about, it was an interview with Kangana Ranaut interviewing Sadhguru. And Sadhguru is saying, Shiva is not a being like the yogi that we think. The supreme Shiva, the Para Shiva, or the Param Shiva, um, is void. It's nothingness. What does Shiva means? Shiva, he broke down Shiva. No, nothing, no thing. It's void. That's what Shiva is. It's void, where there is nothing. From void, everything emerges. From void, everything has come into being. So Shiva is the source of everything. I was like, oh my God, this is my experience he's talking about. Now I make sense. Like Shiva is not the the deity, I think, the god. Shiva is the void. That's what Sadhguru, he said, it's a realm of nothingness. And when you tap into that realm of nothingness, it's Shiva reveals to you. And I was like, oh my God, I was crying in my car. I reached my office and I was not able to go. I did not dare to go inside. I was like crying and crying and crying because of the profoundness of that message and what it meant for me. I went inside. I met my boss and I said, I won't be able to work today. I'm just not feeling well. I was not like in my, I didn't want it to work or think about work. So he said, yeah, take a day off, go home. I started driving back home and I was not able to go home. I went to a Starbucks. I bilkul why like my right next to my home. I called my husband. I said, I'm not working today. I'm just sitting in a Starbucks. I have to work on something. And he said, what happened? I said, I want to blog my experience. And there is something telling me to write down my experience. And I sat down the whole day. I've never written anything before that. And I just sat down and dig. In my whole journey, it was told that you have to share this experience with others, and you have the permission to share. So I was like, okay. And I sat down, I wrote down the blog. But after I wrote down the blog, I was like, who do I share it with? I created a PDF and I sent it to my like very core inner group of folks and the people who attended that session with me. So that was my first experience of Shiva. And then so this happened in 2019. And in 2019, I was in that experience, I was told, gear up, change is coming for you. I thought it is coming only for me, but in 2020, the whole world changed. COVID happened. And 2020 was very profound for me. Like I used to sit in meditations, like I was a deep meditator before that experience, but after this awareness and this experience, my whole meditation experience is transformed. It took me boom to reach in that deep state and connect with that energy. And just, I would just start crying the moment I connect with that energy. It's like I start crying. And 2020, it was like I used to be sitting in my backyard meditating. The whole world was closed. I started to see the realm of energy. Like, oh my God, we are interacting this field of energy all the time. I was very heightened awareness. My husband started meditating very deeply. He started having really profound experiences, and we both were like sitting and sharing and talking about our experiences. And I was like, I wanted to tell him that you also go try this experience. You do ayahuasca once, please go do ayahuasca once. And one day I was like, I was telling him, and he was like, no, you are the explorer. You need to go explore. I already know internally who I'm connected to. I don't need validation or proof. So I don't want to try any of it because I have my own ways. I was like, okay. But I was like, no, please, again, I would start. Please, ek bar try karo. One day, one night, I was sleeping. That day I had kind of pestered him a lot, like, tum karte nahi ho ye, wo. So on that night, in the middle of the night, I woke up. It was like 3 a.m. or something. I woke up with the same profound awareness. It was again like I was in that trance state and I was not able to physically move my body. And I was like, where am I? What is this happening? Like, it's, yeah, what is this? And that awareness came to me. And I was feeling uncomfortable. Like, I want to move. I want to drink water. I want to move. I'm going to get up. Like, I'm not even in a state of, in that medicine state. So why is it happening? Like, I want to move. And it told me, are you feeling the discomfort? The discomfort that you're feeling, the anxiety that you're feeling right now is what people will feel when they're not ready, and they can have a bad experience. So do not be after anybody to have this experience. Let this, when people come to you, reach out, then you tell them, okay, here you can go try. Don't go telling people you need to try ayahuasca. It's like, yeah, okay, got the message. And the moment I said, I understand this, because I felt it, like it was such a bad experience. I wanted to get out of it. I was trying to control it. And that's what people who are not ready for it, who will not surrender completely, or who will not say, I leave all my attachments behind, So how will they have an experience because they're so, right? So you don't, and got the message. I said, okay, I'll not do this. And the moment I said, boom, it went. And I was again in that bliss state of experiencing Shiva. So 2020 was very profound. 2021, I, you know, I've blogged about this and it's on my blog. 2021 was the year of awakening for me. In that year, I said, I wrote down on my journal on my birthday date that I will, I will give this year. No, so this was a deal that I was making to creator, God, whatever, Shiva. When I used to journal, I used to say that something was telling me that I need to go teach this. And I was always doubting, who am I to teach any of this to anyone? So, and I was like, no, no, no. Okay, but I need security. I used to think that I have to give my corporate career and that's how I have to teach. So at that time, I said, okay, give me a proof that I have some security. So this thing was, if I have this much amount, my 1 year salary in my bank account, then I will go teach this. And I wrote it down in my journal on my birthday, 21st January 2021. My bank account had my 1 year salary because in 2020, there was nothing that happened. We were all home. Salary never got used. So I had that money. So, and it got to my attention, like whoever, like my consciousness told me, okay, now you have that salary, that now you have what you asked for. Do you give yourself like do you commit yourself? So I said, okay, I wrote down in my journal, I commit to whatever comes in this year. And the moment I said I commit, it was January 21st. I wrote down in my journal. I posted on my Facebook, Insta, some post. And 2 days later or 3 days later, I was at JFrog. They had just gone IPO. My CEO calls a meeting for our team, and he announces that this team is being laid off. You guys are being laid off. So, and I was like, the moment I got the news, it was, first of all, what is happening? First anxiety came in, like, why? This is my security, this is that. But something was telling me, fine, that's okay. Go ahead, give up. Don't worry, we got you. And I gave up that job. 14th of Feb or 15th of Feb, I went to hand over my laptop, and there was a retreat I had signed up for from 6 months back. On that same day, I had a flight to go somewhere. I gave up my laptop and I was going to this retreat. And I was like, what's the coincidence of this, synchronicity of this happening? This is an event I signed up for 6 months back. And it is happening on the same day I'm leaving this. And that retreat was so powerful for me. It was like a whole rebirthing ceremony that happened for me there. And I had no clue about what would it entail. So, and then I come back from the retreat. My husband said, okay, we are going to Joe Dispenza. I have signed up for Joe Dispenza Advanced Retreat. He had signed up for it. And I was like, okay, he does not want to try ayahuasca or anything else or any of the things I say. So he's found this. I will go with him on this to support him. So I was on sabbatical. I went with him on this Dr. Joe Dispenza's retreat. It was a 7-day retreat. The day we landed, our kids were there with us. They were in the hotel upstairs. and we were in the downstairs doing this retreat together. Me and my husband decided we will sit separately because otherwise you will be engaging with me and I will be engaging with you. And that's not like, so you need to talk to new people and I need to talk to new people so that if I say do this, you will not be, like say, nahi, nahi, tum bol rahe ho. Like listen it from different people. And my God, when I went there, it was like people with this experience. I was like, this is my tribe. These are my people. Like these are talking all the cool stuff that I am into, and I had nobody here to talk to. So day one happened, day two, my experiences started kicking in. I started having mystical experiences. Something was talking to me. Something was happening. Something. Day two onwards, I was not able to sleep in the night. I did not realize that was happening to me at that time. Now looking back, I can connect the dots. When I was there, I was in the night, I was, you know, I was starting to create a website for Energia X. I decided the name Energia X. Energia X was the name. And I thought, what will I do this year? I will teach kids on how to meditate. I want to teach all of this to children. So I was like, this is how I will create. I started working on the website. So in the night, I was to be so passionate. I was to working on the program, what I want to teach, and all of that. Whole night, I would not sleep. And the next day, I would go to the session. Again, more experiences. Third night, my husband realized that you're not sleeping. He said, you need to sleep. And more I tried to sleep, I was not able to sleep. Again, I tried to close my eyes. I was not able to sleep. Third day, I had a very profound experience of experiencing Christ consciousness. And that's a story for another day. Fourth day, I went back into the void and I was in that void space. And in that void space, it was like I was wearing a VR headset. And I'm like, where am I? And the moment I say that, I took off my VR headset and I realized there is nobody else in the world. I said, where is my husband? Where is my kids? It was again an astral experience and there was nobody in there. And I realized it's just me, nobody else. It's just one being, me or whoever. And that in that experience that we are programming our everyday, our human experiences. And I'm wearing, Sarika's headset, Sarika's game, and wearing this and leading that experience. And then I'm wearing Nareen's. So I take out that, I program Nareen life and everything else. And then I've experienced Nareen's fully experienced. There is only one I experiencing or living. And in here, in this world, in this reality, we are all the manifestations of that same I, one I. So living all these different experiences and interacting with each other, though we are all same being at the core. So that was another powerful experience. And then I come back to the hotel room and I'm trying to sleep. In the evening, I'm sitting and meditating and I'm trying to sleep. And my husband was worried for me, like, you're not sleeping. So just to keep him calm, कि अच्छा ठीक है मैं सो रही हूँ. मैं आंखें बंद करके, like, we had two rooms. Our kids were in the room next to us, and we and my husband were in the one room. So we had a connecting door. So so in our bedroom, I was like, okay, I'll try to sleep. I'll pretend to sleep just for his sake. So मैं पूरी रात, I was like eyes closed and I'm just pretending to sleep. And whole night, but the moment I closed my eyes, I was in a meditative state. And I'll tell you what I experienced. In that experience of that meditative state, I saw visions, like visions were coming in. And there are two ways to say this story. So I'll say in both the ways. First, I'll go with the Shiva Shakti story. So I saw as myself or me, and in that case, any being, like any energy, right? Shakti. So in that state, I was like, I am Shakti. So Shakti and Shiva were in union, looking into each other's eyes. Okay, let me go like this one. this scene. Like they were like this, looking into each other's eyes. When they're looking into each other's eyes, they're lost in each other. And eons would pass away. When they're looking into each other's eyes, they're both their eyes are one eye. So it's just one eye. And there's nothing else that exists in the world at that time. There's nothing that exists. It's just one eye. And in that experience, when they're loving each other and Shiva and Shakti are, Shakti gets up and Shakti gets bored of it. Because Shakti is energy. Shakti has exploration. Shakti is adventure. So Shakti gets bored of looking at Shiva and Shakti says, I am bored, and she turns around to see what else is there. और क्या है? कुछ तो था ही नहीं. There is nothing. They were in the void, nothing else is there. But because Shakti said, what else is there? So Shiva has to create what else for Shakti. And the moment Shakti turns around, what else is there? Shakti herself gets scattered into infinite realms, like a big bang that happens. Into infinite realms, she scatters and becomes whatever that she can be, whatever she can think of. From the good, the bad, the ugly, and Shiva is still here. And Shakti is gone away from her, far away to the infinite realms. This is her source of light. And the more far away she went into darkness, right? So, to the end of time, whatever. And hence, was the space, time, other realms, everything else was created. Boom, boom, boom. And so she went away from Shiva. And then when she goes far away into the darkness, she realizes from where she came, from Shiva. And then she starts missing that. And she says, I want to go back home. And then she starts searching, who am I? She's forgotten who she is. And she realizes, who am I? And she starts looking for answers. She starts looking because she feels the love, the call of Shiva inside. And she starts looking for answers. And slowly, slowly, through ages and eons, she goes back and merges back with Shiva. And then they are again back in union for eons and eons. And then again, Shakti turns around. She forgets her experience of being away from Shiva. And then she again turns around. She says, now I'm bored. And then she again goes on an adventure from away from Shiva. And then she comes back again and goes again and back again. And this play of creation, of parting away from Shiva and coming back, has been happening from eons and eons and eons, like forever. Nothingness, from nothingness, the universe comes into creation and it goes back into nothingness and again. And when she goes away from Shiva, that's the cycles of yugas. The yuga, the Treta Yuga, the Dwapar Yuga, the Satya Yuga, the Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga is she's the farthest. And slowly, when she wakes up and she says, I want to go back, is when we're stepping back into Satya Yuga. There's a transition period and then the Satya Yuga and then, and then she again goes back. So these yugas have been playing over and over. These are the cycles of nature. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is now these are energies, right? So what I understood, now the original aspect of it, how I saw it in my vision, that in the void, in the nothingness, is nothing. So Shiva Shakti also nothing, like there's nothing. The void is Shiva, because that's nothingness. In that nothingness comes the awareness. Shiva has that awareness. Who am I? The moment he has that awareness, who am I, that's so from oneness, void is oneness, Shiva is oneness. When the awareness comes, who am I? There's a Shakti. There is a duality. There are two people now, right? So something is saying, who am I? So it's questioning from the void. So now there are duality. And from that duality, the moment this question comes, who am I? Boom, that energy goes, explodes out into whoever it has to be, right? And that's how this world came into being, the dual world of good and the bad, and the two, the man and the female, and this and that. So that's the core. So basically, our yogis, when they experienced it in their meditative state, in those realms of mind, of void, and from that void, this energy parting away and going into creation and then coming back, how would they express this? So they expressed it by personifying them, by personifying these energies, by personifying the void. And to personify the void, they called it Shiva. And to personify that energy, they called it Shakti. And that energy comes back in the void is the union of Shiva and Shakti. And so that's what I understood, that these are just energies. And these energies are masculine, feminine energies, because they're polarizing energies, and when they're together, they're one. Yeah, so that's my story of how the whole existence came into being, and how this whole existence is also to remind you of where you came from, and where is the way back home. So I'll take a pause here now. Long story. Thanks for staying with me. I see a couple of folks probably left, but it is meant for who it is meant for. Okay. Um, I have some content here. Okay, the first few disclaimers. First is, I am sharing my truth. I'm sharing the things that I have experienced, my perception. Is it the truth? No. Truth has many facets. The truth is what you experience. Everybody has their own truth, right? So the truth is in your experience. So that's a disclaimer out there. You need to go make your own connection with the void and see, is this story true? I feel it is true. I feel all the yogis have experienced the same thing. When I came back from that retreat, I I I did not get a chance to integrate. I started working on Energy X project. I was like, no, this is my commitment to the universe. I'll start working on this, but I never got a chance to integrate this. And suddenly, universe said, pause. You need to integrate your experience first. And I got I got messages synchronistically about the books, and Kundalini Awakening, the Serpent Power was a book that came into like Steve, my spiritual dad, he sent me that book. He shipped that book to me. And when I got that book, I told him something. I said, I have experienced something like this. He said, you need to read this. And when I read it, I learned it's the same. I was like crying when I was reading. I was like, this is my experience written in this book. So, and I learned that this has been experienced by many yogis in the past. There is some truth to it. I'm not the one who's gone crazy here. There is some truth to it. So we all have to experience our own truth. Yeah. And this is what awakening is. Awakening is understanding the truth. When you realize that truth, this human journey becomes like a game. It becomes like um, a play field of all that is. And then you say, oh, I'll see what's in the game. I'm here to have fun. What's in here next for me? How can I serve? Because then it's not about fulfilling yourself. It's not about what can I manifest. वो तो अपने आप ही हो रहा है. Manifestation will automatically happen. The moment the desire comes, it's Shiva, Shakti, whatever you want to call it, that's who has come here to live her experience through me, through this physical form. So they, but what can I, how can I, why I have this urge to teach others this or share with us others is to inspire others to make their own experience, to take their own journey, to ask those questions, to seek. Because unless you don't want to seek, your answers will not come to you, you know? So it's the supreme awakening is available to a true seeker who's seeking. And when there's a desire to learn, the teacher appears. Always. Whoever is meant to be your guide, your teacher in that path, that will show up. So, and your heart is your guide. To who maybe you guys are connected with me today. Tomorrow you get inspired by somebody else, and that's totally cool. So I've had many teachers on the path, and sometimes you outgrow some teachers, sometimes you find new teachers, because everything that you need to learn and to gain, and the next piece of key to your journey lies somewhere. So go explore, exploration as well. Yeah, so this is what I documented in my, so yeah, so I've been documenting my experiences on this blog. Here is where I, shared about my journey at Joe Dispenza. It was very high level, 50,000 feet. I've had many, many experiences on this retreat. One reason I do not recommend Joe Dispenza's retreat to anyone is he's a scientist. He's a neuroscientist who has figured out the science part of this. When I was there, I was having these experiences. My experiences went up every day. And my husband got really scared for me at that time. 6 days, I did not eat, sleep, or drink. And I was in those transcendental states. And we reached out to Joe Dispenza's team. His psychiatrist came on board and she basically declared me crazy. She said, well, your wife is stuck between a time space quantum loop or something, and she's not going to go out or can get out of it. She's literally lost her mind. You need to go see a psychiatrist, get her into medication. She's like having a schizophrenic attack or something. She was not able to understand what I was going through. It was a spiritual experience, but from science perspective, everything is a schizophrenic realm. Though Joe Dispenza, I know, is much more than this. His meditations were much more than this, and he does teach this, and his intention is to take people or help people awaken. But he is operating in US where there are liability laws, there are other things, and he doesn't want to take accountability of any of that. They did not provide me any support. They asked me and my husband to leave the conference. They did not allow us to attend it back, come back into the conference. I was traveling during transcendental states in the flight in between this. It was a very tough state because it was like all my higher chakras were open and I was getting messages. I was able to feel people. I was able to read people. I was able to see visions. There was so much going on that physically navigating in this physical realm was very tough for me. It was even more tougher for my family to bring me back home. And when those states are open, it was my first big experience of not sitting in a meditation, but interacting with the world in that state, right? If I was sitting in a meditative retreat, I would be just sitting in my eyes closed and understanding. But I was traveling during that state. And yeah, so we did not get much support. They just shoved us out. I came back home. My husband reached out to, I was literally sent to hospital. My husband sent me to hospital to administer the sleep injection because I was not able to sleep. And I was like laughing at that time that this is awakening. Awaken? I'm awake. I'm not able to sleep. Guys, let me sleep, please. So it was physically, literally awakening. And so once I went to the hospital, they gave me a sleep injection. I slept overnight. Then it happened. And then we reached out to Steve. He put me in touch with the energy healer. She tapped into my energy. She saw that my higher chakras were open. She helped me close down. Steve sent me a lot of books on this. We would talk, he would guide me and he would this is a spiritual experience. Give your self time. It is something powerful that has happened for you. Give it time to integrate and slowly it'll help. And then month or two, everything started calming down. My intuition was very, very heightened after this experience. I knew after that, it was told to me, okay, now you go back to corporate. And I was like, no, I've given myself this year to go back to corporate. But it was like, nope, you will go back. And when I was looking at job interviews, I knew like I will go to Heap. And I was like, okay, I'm applying at Heap, but I'm also applying at Apple, Adobe, everywhere I could. And it was like, you're wasting your time. You will go at Heap. I was like, I don't know what I can believe in. I have to still do the karma part. So I'll do the karma. फल क्या होगा देखेंगे. But I went to Heap, and their interview process was the lengthiest. I got other offers, but something or the other would not materialize when I was going through that. So a lot of great things came out of that, and slowly, you all know how we started this group, and yeah. So that's the foundation of why we are doing the Shiva Sutra studies, and everything I've read in Kashmiri Shaivism is what I've found my experiences close to. And I feel like, yeah, they totally validate my experience for me. Um, so just quickly going into, I know so people who have to leave can leave. Yeah. So few folks pinged me after our session was Shiva Sutras, Maheshwara, or, so what are we studying? We are studying the Shiva Sutras of Vasugupta. And I wrote about it, what we are doing in this blog, how are they different? Shiva Sutras, so Shiva Sutras, there are two types of Shiva Sutras. What's the difference? Know that, read about it here. Um, yeah, so Vasugupta was the author of Shiva Sutras. There's a very powerful story of how he came into writing these sutras. He found a rock. Shiva guided him to a rock where it was inscribed in Sanskrit. And that's how Abhinav Gupta is also a great mystic philosopher, and a pioneer in Kashmir Shaivism. I think Kashmir Shaivism, like he's one of the core founders of Kashmir Shaivism. Then what am I studying? I'm studying Swami Lakshman Ju's um, commentary on Shiva Sutras. I'm also reading Thakur Jayadeva Singh. So Lakshman Ju had his personal experiences. He had experiences, and then through those experiences, he has studied Shiva Sutras and then commented on this in this book. Thakur Jayadeva Singh was more of a seeker experience and then studying Shiva Sutra. So there's a little difference. He's an experiencer, he's a seeker. But both the commentaries I really like. Along with that, I'm also combining two or three more other books when I'm doing my research. Um, so yeah. So first Shiva Sutra that I've shared is Chaitanya Atma. Let's see. So here. So Chaitanya Atma. Chaitanya means Chaitan. Chaitan means consciousness, awareness. And Atma, that supreme being, the Atma in me, the Paramatma, the Shiv, right? So yeah, that's what this first sutra is, that we all are connected to that supreme being. Our consciousness is Chaitanya. It's always aware. That's who we truly are. Our true nature is beyond our personas that we play in this life. Who are we at the core? So I will take a pause now and stop sharing here. Stop my screen. And now, too much of talking. Thank you so much for patiently listening. Now, over to you guys. Questions, comments, anything, bring it on.
So I had some questions when you started, but then as it progressed, so a lot of them got answered because I actually got to know about ayahuasca and stuff like that from my brother, and I wanted to know that before you take it, there's a certain regime that you have to follow, and you talked about it, like Wim Hof and like certain other preparations that so it's like it's that weed hash, something like that. Yeah.
I would never call it weed hash.
Yeah.
They are lower vibrational. Weed hash, everything else is lower vibrational. Drugs, I think maybe I don't know about marijuana or other things, but ayahuasca is very high vibrational. It's like a sacred plant spirit. It's the it's literally you can feel it like a spirit energy moving with you. Um, and the place that I've discovered here, uh it's called Santo Daime in that. So basically they're a Brazilian group. The lady who's a shaman, who's a spiritual leader there, she's 80, 70, 80 years old. She's an old lady. Um, and she's like walks like this. And she's a Brazilian lady. And they charge like what minimal $100 for bringing this medicine from the Brazilian this thing. Every culture has this element of this.
Yeah.
African, Amazonian, South American cultures also, Brazil, and every lot of cultures have this. In our Indian tradition also, there's a mention of somaras. That's what it is. In meta meta I'm not able to say that word, but yeah. So every culture has this element. Would you compare soma with weed, hash, LSD, blah blah blah? No, it's there's a difference in vibrational energy. When you take something high vibrational, it takes you with it. In like I said, that I felt like a presence here, right here, and that presence was very female presence, like a mother energy, like a grandmother energy that I felt. And that's what I felt is the Mother Earth, like Mother Earth energy. So these are, because these are plant medicines, that's why they never use weed or anything like that word to this. Like in their community, if you say that, then they're like, you are not the right fit in this because you don't know what it is, you don't know the sacredness of this, and you're not permitted here. So that's how much the lady who leads this circle, honors this. They worship it as a god itself, and they have created a beautiful tribe. It's like a church. They have like a live music. They have musicians from morning till evening. They play. They're like so dedicated in offering this service to, like, they're playing, they are singing in that ceremony, where it happens. It's like a ceremony. you know uh People gather around and there's a live music they'll play, and then, so if anybody is interested, do let me know and I'll be happy to. So
Yeah.
it's only by invite.
Okay.
um and it's only by
Which city
invite.
in Bay Area?
It happens in Los Gatos, sometimes in Santa Cruz Hills,
Okay.
depending upon how many people are coming. Um um they find the location accordingly. There's a there's a big billionaire in Santa Cruz who lends out his house. His house is a huge patio looking out in the mountains. So most of the times it happens in their house. But yeah, and what else? Yeah, did I answer your question? So yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
of
difference.
course it did. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
difference in energy of what we are
Yeah.
doing.
Okay. And another thing, like, and I could perfectly resonate with what you said, because I was reading Joe Dispenza and he says that when we are meditating, so from the state of being nobody, from the state of being somebody, we go to nobody and then to everybody. So that nobody state is that state where uh, maybe you can't stay for long. So like when you talked about Shakti, getting bored and distracted and wanted to go to the other, like when she turned away from Shiva and she's going on to become everybody. So I could kind of relate to that, what happens during the meditation. And when you are into your chakra healings or chakra meditation also, you go from that state of being somebody to nobody, that nothingness state, and then to everybody, so you can become everybody, be everybody, do have whatever. So I think that was like I kind of connected it to that.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah. From somebody you become nobody, and then you
Yeah,
become one with
become
everything else.
everybody. but then you come back to that nothingness. So yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? I know we're over time.
Hey, Sarika, just quick question from me. I'm basically starting very new, beginning into the meditative state. Is your mindset when you go to these retreat, is it like you're trying to identify who you are, why you are here? Is that what triggers to this conscious state of what you can portray, right? Shiva and Shakti or any other god, right? Is how do you prepare for these retreats, and what are the questions? You said you are asking these questions to a person who, but how do you prepare for those questions? Do you get those and existential questions, or is it like something troubling you? How do you get into this meditative state?
So when I started my meditation journey, this is around 2012, I didn't have a job. I was unemployed because of work permit issues and other things. So at that time, I just needed to get better at life, get better with my life circumstances. My health was really bad at that time. I had thyroid, identified with thyroid. I was identified with like five things at the same time. I used to have like migraine attacks and other things. So yeah, so wherever you are in your life's journey, that's what you will seek, right? So what are you seeking? And at that time, I was seeking good health. I was seeking job. I was seeking everything. And when I used to sit in my meditation with that, like I'm, how do I get better at this? How do I get better at this? So when I used to take that intention in my deep meditative state, that's how. Thanks, Pratibha, so much for joining.
Thanks, Sarika. It was really amazing. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you. We'll be doing these weekly sessions. So going into each sutras that we'll review together. So feel free to hop on again on these. Today I was kicking off like, why are we doing Shiva Sutra Study?
This was amazing. And I think I wish I spent more time reading it. And it was so nice that you shared all the books you are reading to gather this and summarizing it. That's kind of one, make you understand that this is like so vast. So really, really great session. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
So Saujanya, coming back to your question, it's like the intentions that we set is the intentions that we hold for our life is the direction it will take you into. So when we are trying to get better at something, your life will give you answers with solutions to those things. So in my journey, first I started with getting better at life, manifesting something, manifesting other things. When all my manifestations were done, I was like, okay, I got how manifestation works. Now I want to meet you. Who is this giving me these manifestations? Who is this giving me answers? Then I got an answer for that. When I got answer for that, I was like, I want to serve you. Then I got answers for that. How can you serve? Then I said, okay, I'm serving, but now I don't know how to reach out to people. How do I do that? Then I got an answer for that. So it's like when you ask the question, that's the answer that you'll get. But we need to ask the right questions. So what are the right questions? Right question is whatever your heart truly desires. Your heart truly desires. That is the question. When you know what your heart truly desires, your answer shows up. When you know what you are seeking, the teacher appears, right? So I always set that intention first, and then this retreat comes in. When I go to the retreat, I'll just go with an open mind, with the intention that I want to. What is it there for me? What can I gain from this? How can I experience it fully without bringing my judgment, without bringing my thinking like this is right, this is not right? Like Sadhguru, I shared Sadhguru's experience. I've always been a little hesitant towards Sadhgurus or gurus in general. I've always thought in the past like gurus are like not my way. They charge like $1 million, and then one program, those other program, you just keep doing the programs and all of this. So when I went to Sadhguru, it just happened. I wanted to take my daughter, and it came to me, and I was like, no, I'm not bringing my judgment in. I love Sadhguru because he was the one who gave me the answer of understanding Shiva more, and he's very intelligent. I know that, but his coursework doesn't so much resonate with me, and it's not my path, right? So, but I wanted to see that if maybe I can introduce my daughter to him. So I went there and I just said, I want to stop my judgment, anything that I'm holding, and I want to experience what does this teacher has to offer. So when you go with that awareness, what is this, and bring yourself fully in that moment. And then what is meant to happen for you will happen. So yeah, in the now of that experience. Yeah.
You beautifully explain everything, Sarika.
Thank you, Naveen.
Yeah.
You have been an immense power behind me doing this, Naren. I have to tell you and I have to acknowledge this because I'll tell you why. Because when I started this and I actually posted it on my Facebook story or something that I'll lead meditation sessions, you were the one who reached out to me.
Right.
I'm interested. And on that day, I was like questioning myself, like, kisko chahiye hoga, kaun bolega, agar ek person bhi bol de, to theek hai, right? So, Shikha and other, like Ruchi, Shikha and Rachna had reached
Rachna.
out to me, but you were the fourth person who, so that was my validation that you don't see ki kaun karega. Jisko karna hoga, they
Right.
will show up on your path. So, and you have been so patient and with me in this journey, always encouraging me, and I really, really value that. I know you used to be the only guy in the room when there used to be girls, the room full of girls, and you used to ask me like, "Is it okay for me to stay here because there are only girls?" So I really value your presence, and it's an honor for me to have
Thank
you
you.
here.
Same here.
Thank you. All right, folks.
Yeah.
I think that's all for today.
Hey Sarika, I just wanted to second what Naren said, that you put everything so beautifully, and I don't even often find words to actually express how profound it is to just listen to you, and everything that you say seems to be so out of this world. And I don't think I've known an orator as good as you in everything that you
Oh,
say. So I might not
oh,
say this I'm not here very often, but I admire you through and through. Just
Yep.
want to
oh,
thank you for all this. Thank you, Sarika. Love you.
oh. Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you for saying that because I judge myself. I used to, I will say, not anymore, but I used to judge myself. And like when I used to hear my recordings or edit them, I used to cringe at my voice. Like, ये कैसे बोल रही है? इसको ऐसे बोल देते हैं, इसको like, oh my God, तू थोड़ा words filter करके बोल.
Oh my,
But
please.
It's
so,
perfect.
Please.
It's so beautiful.
No,
Yeah.
it's out of this world. Honestly, I can hear you all day long. All day long.
oh,
Seriously.
thank you so much, Ruchi.
Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for
Thank you.
being with me on this journey. Like I said in our previous session, there's a part that we both are playing in each other's lives. You know, you guys are playing a huge part in my life, and I might be playing some small part in your life as well. So we're all, um, we have all signed up for this journey together at some other level. And so I really, really appreciate and honor all of you and everyone's presence here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks.
Thank-
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.